We all know the names Godzilla, Kong, Ghidorah, but beneath those headline titans are creatures just as powerful, and in some ways even more important, that barely get remembered. Some of them reshape environments, others influence the balance of nature itself, but because they don't fire beams or headline movie posters, they get pushed aside. So today, we're digging them up, the most underrated monsters in the entire MonsterVerse. And trust me, the last one on this list might be the most important titan that you've never heard of. If you've ever paused a MonsterVerse scene and thought, wait, who was that thing in the background? Hit like and subscribe, because today we're giving those monsters a spotlight they deserve, and you're gonna wish you noticed them sooner. Let's talk about the titan that deserves way more than a background cameo, Behemoth. He shows up in Godzilla King of the Monsters for maybe 30 seconds max. Just a massive, lumbering, woolly mammoth gorilla hybrid stomping out of the Amazon rainforest while Monarch loses their collective mind. And then nothing. No follow-up, no showdown, not even a single roar. But don't let the screen time fool you. This thing might be one of the most important titans in the entire MonsterVerse, and almost no one's talking about it. Behemoth is classified as a terrestrial titan, meaning he's grounded. No wings, no breath attacks, no space god powers like Ghidorah, but that's exactly what makes him dangerous in a different way. This titan doesn't attack nature, he is nature. Living, breathing, stomping, environmental equilibrium. In the novelization of King of the Monsters, Behemoth is confirmed to have a terraformation effect. His mere presence restores damaged environments. Forests grow back behind him. Polluted zones revert to clean, lush ecosystems. His footprints sprout greenery. He's basically the Monarch-approved version of Ferngully, if Ferngully was 300 feet tall and could ragdoll tanks. This directly ties into the film's core theme, Titans as agents of balance. Where Ghidorah disrupted the planet's climate and ecosystems through chaos and domination, Behemoth helps stabilize them through sheer biological presence. He's not a king, he's not a predator. He's a custodian of the natural world, and that's honestly way scarier if you think about it. Because if Behemoth is awake and moving, that means the planet's in a bad shape. This is the creature nature deploys when humanity has messed up the environment so badly, it has to send a skyscraper-sized mammoth to hit the reset button. Visually, Behemoth is one of the most original designs in the MonsterVerse. He's got the tusks and fur of woolly mammoth, but the posture and arms of a gorilla. He even has the claws and bulk of a prehistoric ground sloth. That's not just artistic flair, it's functional biology. The mammoth elements suggest cold weather resilience. The gorilla arms suggest strength and tool-like use of the forelimbs. The sloth trait hints at his role as a slow but unstoppable force of natural change. He's designed not for speed or flight, but for persistence, a juggernaut that just keeps moving forward, changing the world with every footstep. And those tusks aren't just for show. In Titan-scale combat, they're essentially natural siege weapons. Curved and bladed, they could gore right through Kaiju armor, throw entire buildings aside, or impale threats the size of buses. We see glimpses of this in the Dominion comic series, where Behemoth is shown actively defending the planet against threats like Amhaluk. He's not a pacifist, he's a reluctant warrior, one who fights not out of rage, but out of duty. Here's the crazy part. After all that lore, power, and symbolic weight, Behemoth is completely absent from Godzilla vs. Kong. He's not in the Hollow Earth. He doesn't show up in any of the battles. He's not even mentioned by Monarch, despite being one of the titans that bowed to Godzilla at the end of the last movie. That's like if Return of the Jedi just forgot who Yoda was. And for a creature that represents the healing of the world, his absence during a time of escalating titan warfare is loud. It's almost symbolic in itself. Like the MonsterVerse has room for warlords and kings, but no time for the ones cleaning up after the destruction, which is exactly why Behemoth deserves more attention. This isn't just a background titan. He's the kind of monster who keeps the planet from falling apart after the credits roll. The kind who doesn't need a beam or wings to be dangerous, because he's not fighting for dominance, he's fighting for balance. And maybe that's the scariest thing of all. A titan that's not trying to kill you, but would flatten your city just to make the trees grow back. But if you think Behemoth is underrated because he's peaceful, just wait until we meet a titan that stays hidden until it's already too late. Behemoth might represent restoration, a force of nature with purpose. But what happens when nature doesn't want you to restore anything? What happens when the water itself becomes hostile, and the monster that lives in it doesn't bring balance, just ownership? Because while Behemoth walks the land like a gentle giant, our next titan rules the ocean like a serpent god, and she doesn't share. Tiamat is the kind of titan that makes you realize just how little humans know about what's beneath the surface. She made her official debut in the Kingdom Kong graphic novel, but canonically, she's been out there this whole time, lurking, waiting, coiling through underwater cave systems we haven't even mapped. And that's the key word here, coiling. Unlike aquatic kaiju like Scylla or the Mutos, Tiamat isn't just water adapted, she's hydrodynamic weaponry. Her entire design screams ancient ocean apex predator. Serpentine body, massive pectoral fins for quick propulsion, a frilled neck for display or intimidation, and a sinuous tail that can tear through steel like a whip made of muscle. She doesn't stomp through cities, she waits, like a myth, like a biblical leviathan, beneath the surface, where she owns the terrain, and you don't even know you're in her territory until it's too late. The name Tiamat comes from ancient Mesopotamian mythology. She was the primordial goddess of the ocean, chaos, and mother of monsters. And that's no coincidence. In the MonsterVerse, Tiamat isn't portrayed by chaotic evil. She's not out there to destroy the planet, but she's pure instinctual dominance. When Monarch first encounters her, it's in the flooded caverns of Hollow Earth, a place she's made her own, turning the environment into a death trap for anything that doesn't belong. And unlike titans like Behemoth or Methuselah, who coexist, Tiamat is territorial as hell. When Kong enters her domain during Kingdom Kong, she doesn't hesitate. She ambushes, wraps, and strikes. She doesn't posture, she attacks. And what makes her underrated isn't just her power, it's how different that power is. Tiamat is the MonsterVerse's version of a biological submarine mixed with a constrictor. She uses terrain, speed, and misdirection like an apex ambush predator. Her long body gives her full control of an underwater battlefield, a battlefield humans can't even navigate without dying from pressure, temperature, or lack of light. And then there's the venom. Yes, Tiamat canonically secretes a toxic substance from her fangs, making her not just physically overwhelming, but biochemically lethal. Imagine being pulled underwater by a 100-foot serpent while you're simultaneously being poisoned. That's not just death, that's a ritual. Even Kong, one of the most physically capable titans in the franchise, barely escapes her during their encounter. She drags him into the water, coils around him, and very nearly drowns him before he uses his intelligence to brute strength and break free. If that were almost any other titan, that fight would have ended at the bottom of Hollow Earth's flooded pit. So why is she so underrated? Because she's quiet. Tiamat isn't flashy, she doesn't scream, she doesn't show up in the main films. She rarely has full cinematic appearances, but lore-wise, she's a perfect predator. And more importantly, she's a reminder that the ocean isn't just a setting, it's a kingdom, and she's the queen. In a world where so many titans get treated like gods, or kings, Tiamat is something older, less structured, more primal. She doesn't care about balance, she doesn't fight for dominance, she just exists in her own biome, in total control, daring you to step inside. Because if you do, there's no stomping, no roars, just silence, then bubbles, then bones. But if you think Tiamat's power is unsettling, just wait until we cover the one titan that didn't evolve to survive. It evolved to hunt. Tiamat hides in the water, silent, selective, coiled in her own kingdom, but our next titan, he doesn't hide, he doesn't stalk, he doesn't even wait. He tears the sky apart, and by the time you hear him coming, your city's already on fire. Rodan is one of those titans that everyone recognizes, but almost no one respects. He gets dunked on for losing fights, playing second fiddle to Ghidorah, or just being a lava bird. But here's the reality. Rodan is a flying extinction event, and if he weren't stuck in a franchise with literal gods, he'd be the apex predator of the earth. Let's start with the facts. In King of the Monsters, Rodan emerges from a volcano, and not just any volcano, El Volcan, a real stratovolcano in Mexico. This dude's resting place is the magma chamber. He sleeps in lava. He is lava. His wings are crusted in molten rock. His skin crackles with heat. And when he takes off, he literally erupts from the earth like a living pyroclastic flow. And the first thing he does, he vaporizes an entire fighter squadron with one wing beat. Rodan flies at supersonic speeds, and the shockwaves from his wings alone are enough to flatten buildings, throw tanks, and send entire cities crumbling. Not hypothetically, it happens on screen. And when he escapes the volcano and flies over to a nearby town, the thermal updraft and the sonic force literally tear the city apart. This is where Rodan stands out. He doesn't need to land a hit. He doesn't need to aim. His presence alone, just flying overhead, is enough to kill you. And that makes him one of the most unfairly powerful titans in the MonsterVerse. In a different film, he'd be the final boss. But in King of the Monsters, he's treated like the mid-tier mini-boss. Here's where most fans check out. Oh, but he bent the knee to Ghidorah. He's just a sidekick. Sure. He bows to Ghidorah because Ghidorah is a multi-headed alien space tyrant who terraforms planets for fun. Everyone bows to Ghidorah or dies. But let's be real, Rodan doesn't submit because he's weak. He submits because he's smart. He aligns with the alpha to survive, just like real apex predators do in the wild. Later, when Ghidorah falls, Rodan switches sides again, bowing to Godzilla. He's not loyal, he's tactical. He's not cowardice, that's kaiju level political maneuvering. Rodan is inspired by pterosaurs, yes, but he's built like a weaponized predator jet hybrid. His wingspan is over 800 feet, nearly double that of commercial airliners. His body is aerodynamic, his bones hollow but reinforced. His beak and claws are designed for piercing, not slashing. Impale first, burn second. And his blood, literally described as magma infused. In terms of monster design, he's one of the most realistic high-speed kaiju ever created. He doesn't just fly, he burns a trail across the sky like a meteor that never lands. And that scene when he rises from the volcano with that demonic screech and spirals into the clouds like a vulture from hell, that's not a monster, that's a natural disaster with wings. Now, Rodan has plenty of screen time, but not enough respect. He's overshadowed by Ghidorah's alien lore and Godzilla's nuclear royalty. He doesn't get his own movie, he doesn't talk. He just flies, fights, burns, and bows. But what fans forget is without Rodan, Ghidorah's global domination wouldn't have worked. He was the first to join him and became the Air Force of the apocalypse. And in a world where most titans stomp around slowly or battle on land, Rodan gives the MonsterVerse air superiority. Think about the next time you look up at the sky, because if Rodan's flying, you're already dead. Not every monster needs a throne to be deadly. Some of the scariest titans don't roar the loudest, they lurk, they wait, they outlast. The next time you're watching a MonsterVerse movie, pay attention to the ones in the background, because those might be the ones that matter most. Drop your favorite underrated titan in the comments and hit that subscribe button. And remember, if a monster isn't getting talked about, it's probably already behind you.